In the stone-carved town of Bedrock, where the wheels are square and the economy runs on bones and barter, lived a man named Fred. Fred wasn't a dreamer, not really. He woke up early, hauled rocks all day, and came home tired. Life was heavy, just like the stones he moved. But somewhere between the dust and the grind, there was a flicker, a quiet, unspoken hope for something more. A better cave, a softer chair, maybe even a future where his daughter Pebbles wouldn't have to carry a club to earn a living. He never said it out loud, but when he looked at that old cracked photo on his nightstand, it was there, buried beneath the fur blanket and worn-out sandals. And then, on an ordinary morning that felt like every other, Fred heard something different. A rumor, a name, a coin, and just like that, his story began.
In a land of stone and dino tracks, Fred's got goals and money hacks, trading shells and building schemes, chasing down those bedrock dreams. Bedrock box, let the fire spark with caveman coins and dino mark. From crypto caves to side hustle flow, watch your bedrock balance grow.
The sun had barely rolled over the hills of Bedrock when Fred found himself once again running late for work. With his stone lunchbox rattling at his side in a face full of panic, he rushed through the dust of the morning like a man chasing something, though he didn't yet know what. But when he reached the quarry, something was off. No hammers, no yelling, just a low hum. The kind that spreads when the smell of easy money fills the air. Everywhere Fred looked, workers were whispering about someone's cousin, about overnight riches, about a magical new thing. Dino coin. It didn't matter that no one understood it. It didn't matter that the coin didn't actually do anything. All that mattered was that everyone else was buying in. And in the center of the frenzy, standing atop a cracked crate, was a man selling dreams. Not stone, not tools, not mammoth insurance, just hype, chiseled into a golden, glowing tablet. Fred didn't ask questions, he didn't pause to think, he just watched the crowd, watched the tablet, and followed his fear of missing out straight to the bottom of his savings pouch. In return, he was handed a rock, a glowing, promising, suspiciously clean rock that told him he was about to be rich. And just like that, Fred became an investor. Not because he understood anything, but because he didn't want to be left behind. What he didn't know was that the future he just bought into was already behind him. For a while, everything was perfect. Fred's stone tablet lit up brighter than ever. Its glowing letters claimed he was up 300%. Pebbles danced around the house, Dino barked happily. Fred even thought about quitting the quarry. He started sketching ideas for a hot tub made of lava rocks. Wilma, cautiously optimistic, even smiled. For the first time in years, the future looked shiny. But hype has a short shelf life. One morning, Fred woke up, stretched, yawned, and checked the tablet. No glow, no cheer, just 3 crude words carved into the screen. Dynacoin minus 97%. Fred blinked, refreshed the screen, turned the stone over. It was real. The glowing miracle was gone. He ran outside to the stall where the crypto caveman used to shout. The crate was empty. The crowd had vanished. In its place, a note etched into the rock with a chisel. Oops. Fred stood there, alone, broke. He still had the tablet, but now it just reflected the face of a man who had bought a fantasy. And when he returned home, there were no words. Just Wilma, arms folded, Pebbles quiet, and Dino gently nudging Fred's empty pouch of shells. The lava rock hot tub would never be built. The stone sofa would stay cracked, and Fred, like many before him, learned that fortune rarely favors the follower. Days passed. The stone tablet no longer glowed. It just sat there, cold, heavy, and useless, much like the dreams Fred had carved into it. There was no more talk of lava hot tubs, no more excitement, just quiet dinners and longer silences. Fred spent most of his time sitting outside the cave staring into nothing. Dino would rest his head on Fred's lap as if trying to carry the weight he couldn't explain. But the world didn't stop. One morning, Fred heard the quarry bell again, the same one he used to curse every sunrise. And this time, he stood up. There was no grand speech, no music, just a tired man returning to the place he once wanted to escape from. Barney didn't say anything, but he left a sandwich on Fred's stone block, not out of pity, but because that's what friends do. And so, Fred picked up his chisel and began again. This time, not to get rich, not to catch a wave, but simply to rebuild. Because sometimes losing everything is what it takes to finally start with something real. Weeks turned into months. The market didn't recover. The tablet never lit up again. But Fred kept showing up. He worked, he laughed, a little, and slowly he began to see things he hadn't before. Not on a glowing screen, not in promises etched in gold, but in Pebble's drawings on the cave wall, in the way Dino barked when he came home, in Wilma's quiet smile when dinner was warm and the roof didn't leak. One day, the local school invited Fred to speak. He almost said no, but then he saw the chalkboard, and for the first time in his life, Fred Flintstone gave a lesson. Not on mining, not on coins, but on what not to do when the next get-rich rock rolls into town. He didn't call himself a genius, he didn't pretend to be wise, he just told the truth, that chasing shortcuts can cost you everything that actually matters. The students laughed when he mentioned Dino coin. Some were already sketching their own crypto, but a few listened, really listened. And maybe that was enough. Fred still worked at the quarry, he still fixed his own furniture, but now he did it with a little less shame and a lot more understanding. He'd lost a fortune, but somehow he'd built something far more valuable. In a world obsessed with the next big thing, Fred found peace in something small. He didn't crack the code, didn't ride the wave, didn't end up rich. But he learned, and he shared, and that, in Bedrock, is more rare than gold. They still call him the guy who bought Dino coin, sometimes with a chuckle, sometimes with a nod. But Fred doesn't mind, because every mistake carved a lesson, and every lesson helped shape a wiser Bedrock. He still wakes up early, still hauls rocks, still eats stone sandwiches. But now he carries something lighter, perspective. And if you ever pass by his cave, you might catch him smiling at a faded stone tablet by the fire. Because in a world full of noise, Fred Flintstone became a voice of reason.